On today's show, we pop up at First Fridays Plymouth, welcome the Spire Center to our set, hear from Kingston Town Administrator Scott Lambiase and Police Chief Brian Holmes on community conversations, hear original poetry from Plymouth Poet Laureate Miriam O'Neill, and get a short Just the Facts update on Plymouth town government.
We'll also highlight upcoming things to do on the South Shore, including events, shows, classes, and programs in Plymouth, Pembroke, Kingston, and Duxbury.
We're glad you're here. Let's get started. Walking into the Spire Center for Performing Arts feels like a welcome, where excellence meets accessibility in a stunning, historic venue whose stage is the heartbeat of Plymouth's downtown cultural district. Next, our Spire Center friends Donna Marr, Lenny Williams, and Bob Hollis visit our set to talk about a new initiative taking center stage at the Spire.
Hi, this is Bob Hollis, the president and founder of the Spire here in Plymouth, Massachusetts. And thank you to Community Conversations for having us here to tell you about another endeavor that we have coming our way. As you know, we've been open about 12 years now, bringing the best entertainment really to support entertainers, up-and-coming acts. People have been doing it a while, and bringing them to an audience in the greater Plymouth area that's just had the advantage of seeing these great acts in a great place to hear music. We're taking that a little further. We're very excited to introduce to you today our Spire Music Academy. And I'm just very lucky to have our director here, Donna Marr and Lenny Williams. They're both on the staff. Donna's the director. And we're going to talk about what we want to do with the academy, because it's another thing that I think we're very excited that's going to bring a lot more to the community. It's going to enable a lot of people that have aspirations to learn about music and become musicians, or even maybe make it a career. We're going to enable them to do so. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to Donna, and maybe if you could explain what your vision of the Academy is, and perhaps what's going to make it unique.
Well, thank you so much for hosting us, the local scene here. And Bob, I've always described you as such a visionary for the Plymouth community and the Spire Center, where you not only, like you said, support performing musicians, but you're also looking to the next generations to educate and give them opportunities in such an incredible venue. So really the mission for the Spire Music Academy is to nurture that musical growth in a highly supportive atmosphere and motivating atmosphere for all ages and all generations in every level of their musical journey, to provide a place where we're motivating them, encouraging them, and one of the most unique things about the Spire Music Academy is that it's housed in the Spire Center, which has that incredible stage and history and location. So we're so excited to be able to be a part of this under this cultural umbrella that you've created. Yeah. So thank you so much for the opportunity.
I'd be really remiss if I didn't let the people know about your backgrounds, because they're superlative. Maybe, Donna, if we could start with your background and what you've done in the past.
Oh, well, thank you. Well, I've studied music my whole life. I'm a pianist, and I studied classical piano and am a graduate of the New England Conservatory. And I've just been so fortunate and privileged to experience music at every level, really, performing as a soloist, chamber musician, part of a 5-piano ensemble. I've studied pedagogy all my life and taught for over 40 years, which really dates me. But it allows me to bring a lot to, all kinds of studies of music.
Sure.
So that's sort of in a nutshell.
Yeah, and Lenny, by the way, Lenny has won 6 Emmy Awards. Legitimate dude here. So maybe you could tell us a little bit about your background and what you think you would like to add to the Academy.
Yeah, well, the education element of my career is brand new to me. Since I've come to Massachusetts 3 years ago, and up to that, I was a solo pianist. I was I trained classically, but I was also involved in. I made a career as a performer in jazz and pop music for years. And then, in my 30s, I got involved in doing soundtracks for television shows, and mostly nonfiction TV. I was in Washington, D.C., and I did a lot of documentary work and worked with PBS a lot. And that was the bulk of my career. And then came to Massachusetts. I was winding down my playing career and my writing career. I thought, oh, I'll just retire. And then Donna got me involved. She said, hey, you should go teach at Berkeley. And then I started teaching at Berkeley about 2 years ago. And it's been a revelation, this whole educational thing. I think I've enjoyed it more than any other aspect of what I've done as a musician, because just being around young, creative people, and they make me feel young and vibrant, and I learn from them, they learn from me. I bring a lot of professional experience to the table, but they bring they bring back that joy, that innocence, that they're not self-conscious about what they do, they just play, and it's something that we want to incorporate in Spire Academy, because that's what it's all about.
I know some of the programs, and Donna's going to be doing a lot of individual lessons, but one of the things I'm very excited about is the ensemble work that you're going to be doing as well. Donna's also going to be talking about some of the choral work. Why don't you touch on that?
So not only are we going to offer private lessons in voice and piano, but I'll be starting a children's chorus for grades 3 through 8. And so we hope that it'll be a core choral group for the Plymouth community, and that they can perform in all kinds of community events. And then also a high school a cappella group.
I'm very
chorus.
excited about that, because
So,
I look at them as being able to come down the lobby before some of our shows and
Well,
performing in the lobby and so forth.
Yeah, well, that's
Getting out
what
in the
makes
community.
the Spire Music Academy really unique, is that they will be able to perform on the main stage and have a lot of rehearsals. I'll throw that over to you in a second. That's where you're going to be holding your jazz ensemble rehearsals. But once the groups are formed and well rehearsed, they'll be doing pre-shows in the lobby. And also in our beautiful spaces upstairs that have been newly renovated to do showcases and workshops and things. So we'll have the children's chorus, the a cappella, and also I'm excited to offer a singer-songwriter course, which I think is going to be really interesting. And I have to say that we've already had one student who applied for the Levitate competition, and out of about 450 applications, she was chosen in the top 15.
Wow.
And she's a Plymouth native, and it was really exciting to offer something like that.
That's super.
So yeah.
And just, it is community conversation, so we have to have a shout out to the community, because we have done that whole upstairs over at the Spire Center with community support, and it is beautiful. We not only use it as a premier lounge before shows at night, but this is where
where we've been teaching.
our Spire Academy
And
will
we have
exist.
a gorgeous Yamaha C3 that was purchased up there, and the acoustics are wonderful. And we have an auxiliary room that'll have state-of-the-art equipment for all of our singer-songwriters. So it's really beautiful and very warm and welcoming.
Yeah, anything to add to that, Lenny?
Well, I just, the jazz ensemble I'm very excited about. I want to start with a very small, select group of some of the best high school musicians, and do more of a 6 to 8 piece small group that will be able to play tunes and improvise and go a little further than they might go in the public school programs, which are amazing, by the way, in Plymouth County, all across all these high schools. These kids are very talented. So I'm very excited about that, because I think that this is an opportunity for, some of the better students to take it a step further.
I've always believed in music as giving opportunities to kids that they might not have in athletics like other kids
Right,
do.
exactly.
And because it's the same things that they're teaching. Ensemble work.
Right.
Your ears are more
Collaboration.
important. Your ears are the big thing, isn't it? Listening to other people, seeing what they're doing, working together.
Right.
The discipline to
absolutely
really
right.
establish what you're doing,
Right.
and the work it takes.
It's
so
a
great.
communication skill.
Yeah.
Sometimes I think it's just another mode of communication that they can't, express in any other areas in their life. And we've often talked about how you build relationships performing, and you learn to collaborate and depend on each other, and you can form relationships that really last a lifetime. So, we're really excited about doing that. And already, some of the people we've mentioned it to, we're also going to do workshops. So we mentioned it to our good friend Marshall Wood, who is an incredible bass player. And as soon as we told him about Spire Music Academy, he said, please let me come give a workshop with these kids. So we're going to look at some professionals in the area and maybe some professionals who have performed on the Spire stage to come in and also work with these groups,
Sure.
which is a really incredible opportunity for young people. And they can find a lot of inspiration in that, you know?
And one of the things I've always been adamant about is it's not only the performers, but it's the people like the people in here,
Right.
all the production people. Because I
Yes.
tell people
Right.
they can actually get jobs. A lot of musicians, it's very difficult, but people that know audio, visual, whether it's videos, lighting,
Yeah.
just
Sound
all
work.
kinds of,
Yeah.
not only performing arts places, but industry and
Right.
that needs them. So that's one of our steps too. We want to be able to get into the production side eventually as well, and we have some great people to do that with.
Yes, I
Yeah, we do.
agree. And Lenny, you might want to talk about that further, about how,
Yeah,
you know.
I mean, you know, I know that, you know, I know Gary is very experienced and you know, probably has a background in training people and working with audio. Everybody at the Spire is top
fantastic.
rate, you know,
But we've
top of
talked
the
about
game.
coming out of the solo practice room. It's not just about that
Right.
in your musical career.
Yeah, sometimes I think that one of the things I felt lacking is I didn't really get to play with and collaborate with people until after I was out of college. You know, and so to have that opportunity, you know, to bring people together sooner in their musical journey, you know, as teenagers is pretty special.
Right.
I think, you know, I think that we also are. I watch Donna teach, you know, all the time because we live in the same house.
Yeah, yeah. It's a coincidence.
Coincidence. And she sees every student, you know, and she treats, it's like she takes the whole picture in and says, what does a student need? She lifts everyone up, and she has this ability that I've tried to, you know, take on in my own teaching, of seeing every student, meeting every student where they are, you know, starting from some of the most basics to the most sophisticated. She can do it all, and she's there's a reason she has more calls than she can take. more
Right.
students
She
than
brings
can take.
joy to the whole experience. That's who she is.
Well,
Yeah,
thank
she
you.
lifts
Well,
everybody
I
up.
have a lot of inspiration sitting here in the
that's
room
super.
as well.
Even my grandson, he's just so excited about taking lessons
Well,
from
I'm
you.
excited.
Every week he talks
I
about
love
it.
working with him, and,
Yeah.
and that's the beauty of it, having students at every age and every level, and just, you know, setting the bar higher for them, or just allowing them to come express themselves and have a great experience exactly with who they are. It's not a one size fits all when you're teaching music. It's so expressive and it's very personal. So, you know, we want to make sure that everybody walks into the Spire Music Academy and just feels embraced. You
Great.
know, and that it's a nurturing atmosphere that's motivating at whatever level.
And what will the Spire Academy look like as far as the logistics, how it works? It'll be a semester.
Yes, it's
setup?
going to be just like a conservatory style atmosphere. We'll be able to. You can go onto our website, www.spiremusicacademy.com. The website is live now, so you can, you know, look at the courses and the different things that we're offering. You can't register yet, but that's coming. But you know, you come into the room, and we're going to have lessons going on upstairs, and in the two auxiliary in the auxiliary space. Lenny will be on the main stage. We have an academy administrator who's always going to be there to welcome families and children in for their lessons. And if you have questions or anything you need to know, there's always somebody there. Am I on? Did I answer the question?
Yeah,
Did
'cause
I veer
you know,
off in the wrong
it's
way?
Unlike some places where you're just paying week to week or whatever.
Oh, no, it'll be
it's gonna be set up as
like it'll follow mostly the school calendar. So
Yeah.
we'll have 2 semesters, a little bit shorter semester for the fall and a longer one in the spring. And we try to follow that schedule, but it's going to be a really exciting place to be a part of.
Oh yeah, I mean, since we started the Spire, this was one of my goals right from the beginning. It wasn't just about the performances, but it was about what can we do in the community to help anyone.
Yeah.
It can be kids, it could be people that are maybe in their 70s like me that I'm signing up for vocal
I know.
lessons again.
I can't wait for
You got
that.
me excited about doing that. It's been about 20
there's
years.
beauty in all of it, and
Yeah.
it is an asset for the community. And one thing I love about Plymouth, and I'm new to this whole community, is just the artistic excellence there and the collaboration with everybody. So this is just going to be one more complement to what's already there.
Yeah.
And I think it's going to be a beautiful thing, you know,
super.
that there's a lot going on. And this is going to be, I hope it becomes a place where children study, or adults, but mostly when children, they're going to come every week to our school. And I want them to grow up and say, hey, you know what, I was part of something really special when I was young. I went to the Spire Music Academy, and we performed, and we played jazz, and we collaborated with other musicians. And just to take that into their life, no matter if they become a professional musician or not.
Sure.
Yeah.
I think that's a great way to wrap this
it
up.
up.
I know,
Oh.
super good. But as you can see, community conversations, we appreciate you bringing us in here, but why I'm excited, because it's not only about what we're teaching, but it's who is teaching it. It has inspired
thank
us
you so
within
much.
the whole Spire community. And I've been saying this all along, we're not just building a building there, we are building a community there.
Yes.
Between our members, our volunteers, and now this, it's just a great place to be. So again, thank you so much for listening. Go to Spire, what is
www.spiremusicacademy.com
Yes.
to learn more.
To learn more, and
Yes,
that's, you can
and
find all
please
about
come
it.
by the Spire Center to check us out. We'd love to welcome you in and meet you.
And thank you for listening.
First Fridays Plymouth transforms the Plymouth Bay Cultural District into a vibrant open house from 5 to 8 p.m. on the first Friday of each month until October. Ben and Jen took a ride downtown to check it out.
Hi everyone, today we're popping up at First Fridays Plymouth. So First Fridays unite the downtown Plymouth area's businesses and cultural institutions in an extravaganza of special events, music, art, culture. Let's go check it out.
This is the June First Fridays Plymouth. We have First Fridays Plymouth is an event that happens here in Plymouth from May to October, the first Friday of every month. And it's to celebrate the arts, culture, history, and our beautiful downtown and our small businesses. So we have everybody that participates. We have about 28, maybe 29 venues around town. They make a commitment to the arts, culture, history, and stay open from 5 to 8. So we've got people that are coming and going in and out of businesses, art shops. The Plymouth Center for the Arts is a big one. We're very fortunate to have history. Holmes, the Mayflower Society, Hedge House, Spooner, all of them are participating in First Fridays Plymouth. This started the summer of 2021. I met this woman named Kat Libretto, who is an artist here in town. She's actually doing a demo right now at the Plymouth Center for the Arts, and she owns Inky Hands Print Studio. And so we were talking one day about First Fridays around the country, really. And we just got people involved. We've got Ed Newt, who is a photographer here. He is cruising around town tonight taking photos of our different venues. And he had been inspiring us from the very beginning as well. So then it's just kind of, grown from there.
Tonight we're staying open late. We'll be here until 8 p.m. And on our First Fridays, we always try to invite other local businesses, vendors, people who, either make something beautiful or have a service to provide. People come in, they do some shopping, and in an event like tonight, they can get a color analysis done by a professional who's joining us from New Bedford. Ooh, yes, Mac from My Authentic Colors. You'll get to meet Mac soon.
My name is Mac. I am the owner of My Authentic Colors. I am the first and only color analysis and personal styling studio in New Bedford, Massachusetts. I am doing express color analysis consultations today. It is 30 minutes. We figure out your undertone, your intensity, if you're a version of your palette, and I show you your final result. And it's an amazing experience. But I absolutely love working with the community, and I love working at places like House Cat or other boutiques because, especially in today's economy and today's market, we want the best quality for the best prices that we can afford.
It seems like this is kind of a match made in heaven. It's like a great store of vintage clothing and your color expertise. So thank you for talking to us.
Absolutely, anytime. It was really great to talk to you.
We are All Good Art Studio and Gallery, and we have a bunch of local art behind us that we change out every couple of months. And then we have a lot of classes for all ages, from kids to adults, painting, clay, cookie decorating, resin, all sorts of different things.
We also do birthday parties, private events, really fun stuff.
Those are fun.
All the kids love it here, and we have a great time doing it.
What do you typically like to have planned on a First Friday here?
Some sort of community art project that we can all kind of do together and leave with something amazing at the end. So some weeks we have like lino cut printing, and others we have large canvases that you can all paint on. And today we have paint a face, make a face, and we have a bunch of faces out there that everybody can customize. So at the end you have a whole community art piece.
Tell us a little bit about the house and what do you do on a First Friday here?
Well, the town of Plymouth opens its doors to its history and its culture and its customs for the first Friday of every month. We're here right now in the Winslow House, which was built by the great-grandson of the Pilgrim, Edward Winslow, and it's now the headquarters for the Mayflower Society. We give tours here, very popular. We've had 120, 150 people at a First Friday for tours. We can deep dive the history of the building, which goes back to 1754. It's a historical place. It's interesting. It's all about the neighborhood. Just down the street is Mercy Otis Warren, who was the muse of the Revolution. And here you had Ned Winslow, who hosted the Queen's Guard here, and actually went to Lexington Concord with the British Regiment. So on the same street, you had loyalists dictated by the black ring around the chimney, and you had the wonderful Mercy Otis Warren, the muse of the Revolution, right down the street at the corner. So Plymouth has a great mix of history, and it's in the 250th year here, it's understated, I think, the impact that Plymouth had through Mercy Otis Warren and the Committee of Correspondence led by Sam Adams and Dr. Joseph Warren and others over the course of the Revolution. So on First Friday, we gather here to celebrate all of these places of great history. All of the facilities are open, the Hedge House, etc., with tour guides, staff. There's sidewalk artists. There are bands playing at street corners. The bars, of course, are always open on Friday, but First Friday in particular. It's very popular because of the depth and breadth of the events that are going on here. And if you really want to taste the history, you can get that and then go follow up with a cold ale or some great seafood. And pretty much the entire downtown is open for business on First Friday.
It is very vibrant out there. Thank you for talking to us.
Thanks for having me. Come on down.
Why are events like First Friday important to small businesses?
I just think it promotes the businesses, and it's celebrating the whole vibe in Plymouth. And we have a great community here, and I enjoy being a part of it.
What has the response been to your place?
It's been very good. I have bands play out front, and then a lot of new customers are introduced to the shop because of that. It's a way for me to promote a form of entertainment. And the First Friday's people have been great.
I'm here with Mike at The Edge Pizza, and I have a very pressing question. Do you sell slices?
No, our slices only come in a 6-pack.
Why is First Friday, this kind of event, important to you and your business?
It's a community building event. I'm a big fan of anything that builds up the arts and music, so any way I can support that in town and be part of the community, I love it. Yeah, and it's right across from us, so can't say no. Yeah.
I'm here with Noah. So Noah, what brought you down here tonight?
I live in the area, I came here yesterday for the first time, check out this local pizza place, and I loved it. I just wanted to come back, try more slices, It's nothing beats, shopping in local areas, supporting small businesses around town. That's what it's all about.
Why should people shop local?
Ooh, to boost your community and to make all of us small business owners feel good.
Absolutely. It's important to remember that all the local businesses are also, members of your community, and The more you help them, it helps you too. So it's just a nice community thing to do.
Why do you shop local?
I think that if people want their town to thrive, if they want to have a beautiful town, if they want to have a vibrant and fun town, you've got to support it. Simple as that.
Well, folks, that's it for our First Fridays Plymouth pop-up. We had a great time talking with the folks who make the First Fridays fabulous. We'll see you at the next pop-up. Are you ready to meet your match? The South Shore Humane Society has a beautiful tale to share of two cuddly gray and white companions. You'll want to turn up your air conditioner for this story because these perfect felines are eager to warm your home and melt your heart. Meet Panda and Pandora, a sweet mother-daughter duo who are truly cut from the same cloth, or more accurately, the same stunning silky gray and white fur. With their unique markings and amber eyes that shine like pure gold, these two are ready for their close-up. The real beauty of this pair is the unbreakable bond they share. They've looked out for one another through thick and thin, and they are dreaming of a forever home where they can continue to be each other's comfort. At just 3 and 2 years old, these playful, affectionate girls are ready to trade in their shelter life for a cozy spot in your heart and a sunny corner of your living room. Their past is a bit of a mystery, so while they are sweet and loving with people and each other, how they would do with children and other pets is unknown. They are spayed, healthy, microchipped, and up to date on all their shots, so they are ready to settle in, make a new life with you today. The adoption fee for this inseparable pair is only $300 for a lifetime of soft purrs, sweet headbutts, and double the love. Mom and daughter want nothing more than to grow old together and to fill your days with sweetness and joy. Is your heart melting? Email the South Shore Humane Society to bring Panda and Pandora home.
Hit the pause button on stress and find some peace of mind with the Plymouth Center for Active Living's director, Cheryl Jones, who invites you to join her for a 30-minute virtual mindfulness meditation session each week. Every Wednesday at 3 p.m., cultivate resilience and end the session feeling grounded, refreshed, and connected. This is a warm, welcoming virtual space you can join from the comfort of your home that can help make the rest of your week feel more centered and vibrant. Register through My Active Center to join and get the link. If you'd like to join but don't have internet access, register for View at Cal, and the team will have a comfortable space and TV set up for you there. No one has to miss the gift of a calm mind. The sessions are completely free, incredibly restorative, and the perfect way to center yourself midweek.
Get out your flags and your sunscreen to celebrate the land of the free and the home of the parade. This year, we are celebrating the 250th anniversary of our nation, and there is no better place to mark the occasion than right here in America's hometown. They'll be kicking things off at 7:30 a.m. on Saturday, July 4th with the 11th annual 4th of July 5K at DCR Pilgrim Memorial State Park. At 9 a.m., the main event marches out from Mayflower Business Park at 428 Court Street, proceeding south, follows Main Street and Main Street Extension into downtown, then turns left onto Water Street and ends at Plymouth Rock. Be there to hear America the Beautiful and the national anthem performed against the backdrop of our beautiful waterfront. All day long, the waterfront will be dotted with food trucks like Alden Park and Mom on the Go, with plenty of novelty items, popcorn, and cotton candy from roving vendors available to keep your day poppin' and sweeten your experience. For the grand finale, the Plymouth Philharmonic takes stage at 7:30 p.m. at the State Park, leading us right into a dazzling fireworks display at 9:15 p.m. that's going to be an absolute blast. If you can't make it down to the water for the parade or to enjoy the Phil, don't worry, we've got you covered. The local scene will be there every step of the way, bringing you live coverage of the parade and the Phil's concert on our community television channel, Verizon 43 and Comcast 6, and streaming live on our YouTube channel at the local scene. Whether you're watching from Burial Hill, Nelson Park, or the comfort of your living room, you won't have to miss a second of the action. A friendly heads up. Water Street from Union to Brewster Street will be closed by 6 a.m. and remain closed until the last firework pops off. So if you want a front row seat, make sure you're parked and settled early. Want to know more? Visit July4Plymouth.com, and happy 4th of July.
Junior detectives between the ages of 7 and 16, the Pembroke Public Library has a case that needs cracking, and they're calling on you to report for duty. On Thursday, July 23rd from 4 to 5 p.m., the library is turning into an all-in-good-fun mystery escape room crime scene. You'll be investigating the mysterious passing of Pliant McTwist, putting your sleuthing skills to the test as you sort through evidence, decipher cryptic puzzles, and tackle challenges that would sweat even the most seasonal inspector. If you're between 7 and 9, don't go alone. Bring a caregiver along to help you piece together the clues. Don't let the fun escape you. Registration is required, so visit the library's website or call 781-293-6771 to secure your spot.
Mass Audubon is hosting a guided Duxbury Beach exploration, and it's going to be clawsome. On Tuesday, July 7th, they're inviting you to get crabby, searching tide pools and the beach rack line to find local residents, including green crabs, rock crabs, spider crabs, and those little guys who always seem to be upgrading their houses, the hermit crabs. Mass Audubon naturalists are ready to spill the sea on crab behavior in an eye-opening look at these creatures and their vital ecological roles. This event runs from 9:30 to 11 a.m. and is completely free, thanks to the generous folks at the Duxbury Beach Reservation, Inc., who are doing a shell of a job protecting our local resources. Pre-registration is not required. Just head to Duxbury Beach and check in when you arrive. For questions or to learn more, call 781-837-9400 or email southeast@massaudubon.org.
Every Monday, Soundcheck Studios in Pembroke turns their main stage over to local legends and legends in the making for their open mic night. Whether you're a seasoned pro or just ready to test your mettle, they've got you covered with both online signups and an in-person lottery system. Just check out their online signup sheet, which drops every Sunday at 4 p.m. Doors open at 6:30 p.m. and the live music kicks off at 7 p.m. Soundcheck provides a full backline, a pro-level drum kit, bass and guitar amps, and a full PA system. All you need is your instrument and your best performance. A few quick house rules to keep the vibes high. You've got a 15-minute window for setup, showtime, and teardown. So come ready to play. You can learn more at soundcheckstudios.com/open mic.
Next up on Community Conversations, Kingston Town Administrator Scott Lambiase sits down with Police Chief Brian Holmes.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Community Conversations. I'm Scott Lambiase, the Town Administrator here in Kingston. And for those of you who may not know, the Town Administrator is responsible for helping oversee the day-to-day operations of the community. I oversee the departments and the boards and the committees and employees, and we all work together to keep the community running smoothly. The goal of this show is simple. It is really to help the residents learn more about the people behind the departments that serve the town every single day. So a lot of times residents, they may not know or hear anything about us unless there's a problem, a road closure, a storm, or maybe it's a budget discussion. So the idea here is just for everybody to meet and put some faces to the names. So this series is really about introducing the community to the department heads and the staff that make the town government work. So today I have the Chief of Police, Brian Holmes, with us, and I'd like you all to welcome Brian. Chief, can you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Thanks for having me on, Scott. I grew up in Avon. I spent most of my career in law enforcement in the town of Stoughton. I worked there for 27 years. I left as a deputy chief. I just started my third year in the town of Kingston. In my younger days, I started as a dispatcher when I was 20 years old. I decided in my young teens that public safety, police, fire, one of those was going to be for me. Well, it turns out all of those were part-time in my younger days. Police, fire, dispatch. That was the beginning of my career. When I got on as a full-time patrol officer in Stoughton, it was a much busier town than Avon. So the last 7 years of my job were in the administrative side of the house. And, I thought it was time to start looking around for a police chief job, and the timing just worked out great. I've enjoyed my time here in Kingston. I found the department and the community are very supportive, and it's a great place to work.
Okay. Now, tell us, I think, and I'll probably ask all the department heads this, but what is something that you find unique or surprising when you got into municipal government?
I like the idea of job security, but your job security is contingent on local funding. So I learned my way through the town meeting process and the budgetary process. It is definitely, it's changed in terms of how many years you have to contribute now for pension, so that's a surprise. And I just found that, in the world of municipal government, there are competing interests because everybody's looking at the same trough of money when it comes to setting up your departments for the next fiscal year.
So I guess what was your biggest, I don't know whether it be a surprise or disappointment or something that you're really happy about on that transition to when you go from working for the department and within the department, even at an administrative level, that when all of a sudden you're in charge, it is a little bit of a difference. And
yeah, it can be a little scary. I mean, the buck truly does stop with the department head. If something bad goes wrong, it's something that I will ultimately have to take responsibility and accountability for, no matter whose actions it was. The successes, they all make the department look great, and it all depends on what the workforce is like. But we have a group of people in this town that work collaboratively together to represent the town well and represent the organization well.
Yeah, and getting on to that, I guess, a part of this show is I like to do a by the numbers thing. So how many sworn officers do you have?
We're budgeted for 28, but 2 of those are starting the academy in about 3 weeks.
Nice.
Beyond that, we have 8 dispatchers, 1 full-time administrator. Then the other departments that fall under the police department are the harbor master, shellfish warden, animal control, animal inspector, things like that.
Okay. And just how many calls of service do you get just on a weekly basis?
There's a couple ways to look at it. In my annual report I put in there in 2025, it was 18,000 log entries, but of those 15,000 of those were actual police calls. And then in the area of 9,000 of those resulted in an offense number or an arrest or some other sort of investigative action.
So you also have, within your department, you have school resource officers. You guys do municipal or mutual aid.
Yes.
You have members that are in was it Metrolec?
Yes,
Task?
Metrolec, yep.
And that, maybe tell people a little bit about what that even means.
So the SROs, the Silver Lake Regional School District actually was good enough to fund a second SRO for the middle school. Prior to that, there was 1 full-time SRO at the Silver Lake Regional High School. And in addition, there are 2 part-time SROs that work at the elementary, the intermediate, and the Sacred Heart School. We feel that it's vital to have police officers in the presence of children so they can get to know us and they know that we're there in a support role. We've also added the Comfort Dog funded by the DA to work in the schools. And there's actually a study going on right now with Bridgewater University to do like an academic study on the effectiveness of dogs in the working world in the schools and the effect that they're having on the perceptions of police amongst children and students. We're a part of the Metrolec Law Enforcement Consortium. Prior to that, we were part of the Southeastern Mass Law Enforcement Consortium. But what that is it's access to, in the event that we need a SWAT team, we would have that as a resource. But Metrolec has many other different divisions, and the most commonly used resource right now out of everything in Metrolec is the peer support unit. They're constantly getting called out for diffusions or critical incident responses to traumatic events by all the member communities of the Metrolec Regional Law Enforcement Consortium. So, it goes all the way from the town of Plymouth all the way into parts of Bristol County and Norfolk County. So there's a huge consortium of law enforcement agencies that contribute to all the different parts of it. The other parts that you might see is like there's a drone unit. There's a crisis negotiations or crisis/hostage negotiations team. There's a mountain bike unit. There's a motorcycle unit. There's a search and rescue unit that does if you had somebody missing in the woods that was not a threat. There's a K-9 unit. There are all sorts of different resources that fall under the mutual aid agreement for Metrolec. We also will be contributing in the future based on the growth of the department, what we can do to add to like the mountain bike unit, the motorcycle unit. We have 1 member of the department that's on the investigative services unit. So we'll contribute whatever we can afford to contribute, and we obviously we get the reciprocation in the event that we need them for a large event or something like, you know, we needed a K-9 for a search and rescue, or we needed a K-9 for a suspect search or something like that.
So it's obviously something that a single department would never be able, in a community our size, to actually do all this in-house.
No way.
And most communities couldn't. So it's sort of a collaboration of multiple communities, and it works out great. And I've seen it firsthand, how it works out, and it's amazing. Community policing, I know that that's a big thing, and certainly I have to say that you're, or you know, the team that you have is really good at that. They are out in the community and want to be a part of it, and it's I don't know, it's sort of a, I don't want to say it's a new way of thinking, but it is a newer way of thinking.
You can expect to be asked that question in a job interview if you're a candidate for patrol officer. We want to gauge, number one, how much you've thought about engaging with the community, and we want to know, you know, what you think. Like, what's more important, engagement or enforcement? You know, we have that interview question, and the spoiler alert is that there is no wrong answer. But if you come in, you expect to be asked that question. But you know, it's not just about us going out there; it's about us having the community in. You know, we put the idea out there at a staff meeting last summer about having the station turned into a haunted mansion, and it was wildly successful. But we want people to be able to come in, get to know us, get to see that we're committed to being engaged with the community. You know, you might see another event happening around Christmas time if all goes well, in addition to the luminaries. So it's not just about us going out there, it's about having people in, opening up the doors, opening up the books, and showing people what we're all about. We're trying to be open and transparent in all the things that we do.
Now, a little bit, as you mentioned in the interviews, recruitment and retention. How is that? I know you said you have two the candidates at this point that are going to the academy, and how are you finding that process now as far as recruitment goes? And there was a little bit of a time there where it seemed like people were shying away from police jobs, and you know, I don't want to have an episode on Post because we only have so much time left.
Right.
Are you finding that you're able to recruit and retain quality individuals now?
Yeah, it is a challenge. What happened over the last, I don't know, 6 years or 7 years is just a complete, went right off the cliff, like a loss of interest in public safety jobs. Some of it's generational, some of it's coming from the higher education system, some of it's coming from mainstream media. You know, and it's our job to, you know, not recreate the image of what traditional modern day policing is. It's our job to educate the public about what we do, because we've lost ground in that, and there's a lot of a loss of interest in that. It does take some work to get the quality candidates. We put them through the process. It's pretty comprehensive in terms of the background, but you know, it's just not the same as it was when I started out on the job.
Well, one thing I wanted to ask you about too is a newer initiative that you've started that we just installed a trailer for. You want to talk about that?
Yeah, so I mean, that actually throws back to how different it is right now in the business of policing from when I started my career. The family services unit is a new approach to traumatic incidents for the constituents that we serve, as well as addiction and mental health. Addiction and mental health are the two greatest challenges out there from one side of the country to the other. And the Massachusetts Department of Mental Health has the jail diversion program for this very purpose, where they'll fund a full-time staff clinician, depending on the size of your organization, to be a member of the department. And that clinician will respond along with the police or subsequent to a police response in off hours or an emergency situation. And they're there to, you know, provide mental health counseling, but really to provide an evaluation in a lot of cases and provide resources and follow-ups and referrals and things like that. When I say it's different from when I started, I mean a Section 12 or an involuntary hospitalization order under police authority was almost unheard of. And right around the halfway point of my career, you started seeing a lot more and more and more of it. But what happens is you file the paperwork, patient goes to the hospital, they get screened out and evaluated, and they're back on the street. This is a different approach altogether. This is basically finding the most comprehensive way to take people who are suffering from trauma from being associated or involved with domestic violence, and getting them the help that they need, and being there as an advocate for those people. And the same applies to the addiction piece of it. So the clinicians that we had for candidates, we had 2 great candidates, and the grant only funded 1 full-time clinician for 3 communities, Plimpton, Kingston, and Halifax. But we had such great candidates that I actually called the grant coordinator and I said, hey, if I wanted to hire both of them, what would I need to do? And she said, can you get 2 more towns? And now we have Carver and we have Hanson. So those 2 full-time clinicians are employees of the town. They're funded annually by the Department of Mental Health grant. They work 2 p.m. to 10 p.m. And there's 1 full-time sergeant that works from noon to 8, working with the clinicians to respond to any of these 5 communities. In addition to that, they don't just work in the trailer. The trailer is a base for them, an office. But they'll have days where they rotate and they'll spend most of the day in Hanson or most of the day in Carver, and they'll rotate around so that not only does the department get to know these people, they're there, in the odd chance that they might pick up an emergency call.
Yeah, and it's a great way to show communities working together and pooling resources that otherwise we wouldn't be able to afford. And this is, again, it's a great program. I'm sure it's going to be highly successful. So I'm glad you've got that, took that initiative to get that done. Is there anything you'd like to tell or ask the community or say to the community? Is there things that the community could do to help you in the town's mission, or anything that you want them to know that we haven't covered?
Yeah, if you're a skeptic or a critic of the police, just get to know us. I don't blame people for being critical and skeptical, particularly what's been out there in the media for the last 10 years. But, the more people get to come in and see us and talk to us, you're not looking at just a uniform and a badge. You're actually seeing there's a human being behind that. And more often than not, the people are passionate about caring for the community and doing the job and serving others. The other thing is that, the only thing I could ask residents to do is supporting the needs that we're going to be putting in for over the next couple of years, because we have received support from the town. We've grown the staffing, but we're still understaffed. And, one of the things that you'll see is the continued request for the growth of the department. I won't ask for one single thing that I don't think that the department needs and that the community should support, because I watch every single nickel and dime that I have hands on.
Yeah, and again, I think, we'll have more of those conversations. This won't be the only time that you and I are going to start talking about this as we start to get into next year's budget, which will be, September will be here before you know it, and we'll be working on it, but I think we'll definitely have conversations about that we can bring to the community.
Yep.
All right, well, anything for closing, or is that... I think you've gotten it all out for today.
I appreciate you having me and other department heads on here. 90% of what we do is communication. So for us to even have this conversation, to be on the local scene, this is a great opportunity. So I thank you for having me on here.
No, I thank you for coming. I thank the local scene for this too. This is a great opportunity again. For those that are out there watching, this is the end of this episode, but there will be many more. This is, I think, the second one in a long series, and I hope everybody enjoys it and spreads the word to watch it, because this will be a way that we'll get the message out on, again, what the departments are doing, get a face to the name, and start talking about, everything between community events to budgets to whatever we need to get out there for information. So thank you, and thank you.
Thank you.
Take a musical journey through time in the heart of Plymouth with the Pilgrim Festival Chorus as they gear up to celebrate America's 250th anniversary with a special concert event, American Landscapes, 250 Years of Song. Join them on Saturday, July 11th at 7:30 p.m. or Sunday, July 12th at 4 p.m. at the Church of the Pilgrimage located at 15 Town Square. A true love letter to our nation's history, the chorus will chart our journey as a country through a lush tapestry of sound, from our beginnings as a nation to folk tunes, spirituals, patriotic anthems, and even a few Broadway favorites that will have you humming along. After you're humming, you'll be singing. There'll be an audience sing-along at the end of the show.
Next up is Dave Antoine with Government on the Local Scene.
With now a month having passed since a busy town meeting in April, the Plymouth Advisory and Finance Committee reconvened once again at the Great Hall, albeit with a smaller agenda for May 13th. There were shifts in personnel as the committee acknowledged the resignation of Emily Tompkins while welcoming Jim Young back into the fold. Meanwhile, Christine Richards was unanimously elected as the new second vice chair of FinCom. The committee then went on to discuss Memorial Hall, a request about funding the necessary masonry and building envelope repairs on the north wall, currently affected by water intrusion. Carl Anderson, facilities manager from the Department of Public Works, chimed in with a better explanation on the building envelope. Carl mentioned the work they've done with an engineer for over a year, establishing the parameters and scope along with the drawings and specifications that were released along with a pre-bid conference the week before. Carl said they were anticipating bids before the end of May. And going back to the north wall, the goal is to complete sealing and preventing water intrusion at that location, which is their biggest concern, given a lot of water has shown up and currently mitigated by the presence of a curtain drain and the installation of an impermeable membrane below grade. This has proven to be effective for the time being, funded by a past town article. They're hoping to complete brick repair for future prevention of damage to that building. Chair Joe Lally commented that he hoped the work had been done much earlier before the committee approved a request to increase the revolving spending cap. Next up was an audit subcommittee report with an update on the 2024 and 2025 audits, with Miles Ramey taking the lead. All audit reports came from CBiz, with the business receiving their final payment of $6,000, concluding their business with CBiz before the town employs the services of Roselli Clark and Associates. Among the topics discussed by Mr. Ramey was an idea of having departments report with receipts of their transactions, ensuring purchases were made with their actual intent, possibly every 4 years. More discussion to come with the audit committee in the near future. FinCom reflected on the April town meeting, ultimately satisfied with how efficiently it operated and the passing of budget initiatives for the all-day April 11th event. The committee is grateful for all the hard work put forth by those taking their time to attend all the various subcommittee meetings, given the time and energy involved. Before they wrapped up just after 7:30 that night, there was mention about upcoming presentations regarding legislative oversight and project financing. The work carries on for the Advisory and Finance Committee as summer comes into view. This has been your Plymouth Government Access on the local scene.
The More Than Words Tiny Poetry and Spoken Word Open Mic event presented during National Poetry Month took place in the historic Mayflower Society House, covered by the local scene and presented by America's Hometown Laureates. Next is Plymouth Poet Laureate Miriam O'Neill in a reading of her original work.
This is a tribute to the nuns who were my teachers. I went to Sacred Heart High School from kindergarten until graduation, and I had the best teachers. And I know that nuns are the punchlines of a lot of jokes, like Saturday Night Live loves them, and but these women were remarkably free and so bright, and they taught me that women can do all kinds of things. So this is called, and I think there's going to be a series about other kinds of women, and this one's called A Woman in Her Body, 1. And there are 2 small epigraphs. Well, there's a dedication and epigraph. The dedication is for a generation of sisters now passed on. And the epigraph is, whatever a woman is called to do, she can do. Anonymous. Back then there seemed to be no clue to say, this christened spouse of Christ, hidden by bib and wimple, might once have lit a summer house at dusk, her flesh luminous as a willow herb bending in the day's last shining. Still, she is a light preserved that signals, here is one of God's own, a woman in her body. And if the bride in question must age and her cheeks loosen from her face, her ankles thicken, waist expanding with the spin of years, do not expect that light to disappear or be swallowed in August's deepest shade. Her voice is still a tool that spades the earth with seeds otherwise unspent. sowing compassion, building peace, a gardener who in her way announces, here is a woman in her body. Let their sound and light claim equal space in this world's calamitous dark. Let their grace fill entire bandwidths. Let these grounded birds whose work brought the enlivened word to wards continue to sing among us, each one a woman in her body. So that was the rondo, and now the little cinquains. And I found two different rules for cinquains, and I think I was saying it to Steve earlier. One of them is a rule that makes it sound like it's a haiku, except words are counted, not syllables. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. And I have two of those, and then some British forms of cinquains. Okay, 1. Spring, cold wind, April, green grass, wars in distant places, mornings. 2. Oh, and I should say that the word straight, as STRAIT, means a body of water that connects. 2. Straight, gay, trans, Alas, Anguilla Channel, Belle Isle, Bashi Channel, Hormuz. And then I have two cinquains in the form that John Donne would have used back in the day. How shall we take up the days of spring when the world keeps cold winter in its heart? How push past these delays to blossom, warmth, and the nesting finches, bold enough to emerge from winter drab into gold? And then this is my last cinquain. Let us think of purple hyacinths and of violets, whose kerns gray voles have carried through wild nights to bloom in long spring grasses for the time, in violet, dancing on their stems, fond of wind as any bird in flight. What can wars make of these blessed sights? Thank you.
The town of Duxbury turns red, white, and blue on Saturday, July 4th for one of its most treasured traditions, the 4th of July Parade, a celebration of community spirit held annually since the 1890s. The festivities kick off at 2 p.m. on the 4th of July at Hall's Corner. From there, the parade will march down Washington Street, bringing the energy all the way to Duxbury Middle and High School. This year's theme is Anchored in History, Duxbury 1776 to 2026, honoring Duxbury's deep shipbuilding history and maritime roots. If you're interested in registering as a float, antique car, walking group, band, or politician in the parade, there's still time. Visit duxburycelebrates.com to register before July 1st. Pembroke Public Library invites you to attend Japanese Folktales and Origami for Families with Motoko on Tuesday, July 21st for an afternoon that is sure to be a paper cut above the rest. In this program, Parents' Choice Award winner Motoko will share delightful folktales from her native Japan and show you how to get creative with the ancient art of origami. These hands-on activities will be fun and accessible, and the perfect way to craft some family memories. This program is specifically designed for ages 5 to 10, but all are welcome. This is a drop-in event taking place in the meeting room from 2 to 3:15 p.m. The program is supported in part by a grant from the Pembroke Cultural Council.
Get the little ones moving and grooving on July 22nd in the Merry Room at the Duxbury Free Library for the most appealing musical event of the summer. The BaNannies swing by in a morning packed with singing, dancing, and multi-sensory play. The BaNannies are a dynamic mother-daughter duo whose joyful mission is to nurture little minds in high-energy, interactive shows that include rhythm games, puppet shows, and lots of giggles. This show is open to all ages and will take place from 10:30 to 11:15 a.m. Children under grade 3 must be accompanied by an adult caregiver. Visit the Duxbury Free Library website to register.
Are you ready to dive into some local history? Set a course for the Hedge House in Plymouth on July 9th, where the Plymouth Antiquarian Society is hosting a Carriage barn tell you won't want to miss. From 4 to 5 p.m., Carolyn Ravenscroft, Duxbury Rural and Historical Society historian and archivist, will peel back the layers of our nautical past with Plymouth and South Shore women at sea. You'll navigate the fascinating and often overlooked stories of the women who helped shape our maritime legacy. Tickets are just $15 or $12 for members. Visit PlymouthAntiquarian.org to get yours. And that, my friends, wraps this episode of The Local Scene this week. Thank you for watching.
If you have a story or event you'd like people to know about, email us at story@thelocalscene.media. Want to know about events happening on the South Shore? Visit our website calendar at thelocalscene.media to check out just how vibrant our community is.
And if you live or work in Plymouth, Pembroke, Kingston, or Duxbury and would like to have your own show or podcast, you should. Email community@thelocalscene.media to find out about our free production services and training for community members.
And as always, we thank our patrons Tiny & Sons, Quintal Brothers, and Squinny's Pizza for supporting our mission of community in action through media.
The Local Scene this week will be back next week with more of what's good and good to know in our area. Until then, we'll see you on The Local Scene.
Hello, friend. If you enjoyed this video, please think about scanning the QR code and making a contribution to the local scene. Every dollar is appreciated, and your support helps keep community media alive and our resources free to the community. We'll see you on the local scene.